minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Nice looking Tuesday. It's time to talk about the security of our homes and our cars, the things that we lock up to make sure that somebody else doesn't take them or break into them. Seth Posner is not here today. Instead, David Beck is sitting in for Seth. They are both with AA Lock, Dock, and Security at 219 Northwest 10th Street right here in Ocala. If you have any questions about your locks, your security systems, maybe the cameras, or maybe a smart app or something like that that you might be using in conjunction with your security system, give David a call. The number is 622-9622, of course. And then if he's not here and you want to call AA Lock, Dock, and Security, the number there is 867-1965. But right now, 622-WOCA. David Beck, nice to get to know you. Good morning, David.
Morning. How are you, sir?
Pretty good. So you're a locksmith?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been doing that?
I've been in the business for roughly around 10 years total.
Wow. How'd you get started in that?
Well, it's actually a funny story. I went out one night with my ex-girlfriend and lost the keys to our house. So I called a gentleman out, and he come in and opened the house for us, and we started talking and everything, and I was always curious how it actually worked, so I got him to teach me a few things.
Oh, really?
Well, after he started teaching me a few things, he ended up offering me a job.
Really?
So I did that for him for several years, and then I got out of the business for a little while, and then I decided to get back into the business because I enjoyed it. So that's why I ended up here with Seth.
Isn't it good that everybody doesn't have that skill?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's very good.
It's a good thing. So is it surprising to you how, if you know what you're doing, how easy it is, or is it not easy even for a skilled locksmith?
There's a lot of it that is really easy. There's a lot of it that's difficult. It just depends on what you're dealing with.
Oh, really?
There's different quality of locks, just like there is with everything else around. There's more high security. There's some that are real simple, like a file cabinet lock. You can have those open in just a matter of seconds. Some of the high security stuff, the only way you can get them open is drill them. There's lots of different things.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So if a lock is controlled by electricity.
Yes.
And the electricity goes out, does it stay in the locked position or the unlocked position?
It depends on how the lock is actually set. There's some that will actually unlock. There's some that will remain locked, and you can't open them until you actually apply electricity and open them through the computer system. Most access controls are done by computers, and without power to the computer, the lock itself will not unlock. The mag locks that people put, the real big electromagnet locks that they like to use, if the power goes out with them, they automatically unlock because there's no electricity going to the magnet to hold it.
That would make sense, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So it really just depends on which system you're using.
Now, when people have to have their locks drilled and then that opens their safe or gun cabinet or whatever they have, can you put a new lock in place with the old combination, or does it have to be new?
Yes, we can actually set the combinations to whatever you like, and 9 times out of 10 we can open them up without actually damaging the integrity of the main lock itself. We just get the mechanism that's inside of it. So you don't actually have to replace what you're trying to open, you just replace one piece of it.
So I never thought of that. A gun cabinet, Robin just brought that up. I'm guessing that's hugely important. You got to make sure that's locked. Wow.
Yes, it is.
And you've been doing it 10 years. Has the technology or the quality of the lock changed a whole lot?
Up until about 10 years ago, we were still using the same technology that they used 150 years ago. In the last 10 years, security has changed night and day different. Everything is becoming more security focused. The electronic stuff is a lot better than a lot of the mechanical stuff. But even the mechanical locks are still starting to come into different ways of securing. And there's some that they're making now that you can't pick them. You literally have to drill them. There's different ways that they're doing it. There's certain keys that you can only get in certain places. You can only get them through a locksmith. You can't go to Walmart and make copies of them like a lot of people have done. So that increases the security because people don't have access to a lot of the stuff as well.
Can you open a lock from 1,000 miles away with your smartphone?
It depends on how the system's set up. If I'm set up in the network that it's on, yes, I could.
Oh, okay.
It has to be a certain type of setup. It has to be a voice over IP access control system is the only way that you can do it. And then you have to have access into that particular network, which means you have a direct VPN connection from where you're located to where it is.
Oh.
Years ago, when garage door openers first came out, you probably weren't even born yet. But I can remember. I can remember you could drive down the road and open garage doors because they didn't have unique numbers. I mean, there might have been, I don't know, 100 different numbers, but still you had a 1 in 100 chance that you could open up somebody else's garage door in your neighborhood.
Yes.
So how do they do it now? I mean, if I open up my car door with that little key fob I have on my car, how do they make it so that I'm not opening up anybody else's car in the parking lot?
Now they have a technology that it's actually a rolling code system. So the code that your transponder for your key fob never sends the exact same symbol twice. And the only,
oh, really?
Yeah, only your car and the fob that you're currently using communicate back and forth to each other because the system is constantly changing itself.
Really?
Yes. Otherwise, you would be able to walk through, and 1 out of 1,000 cars, you would be able to get in and drive off.
I wondered about that. Well, sometimes, because I'm new to this whole key fob thing. I didn't have one before. But every once in a while, I'll hit my little button, and somebody else's car will beep. And I think, oh, did I do that? and it's just, it's a very big parking lot here, so there's a lot of cars. So it's just.
But now with the rolling code systems that they're using with it, it always keeps it unique to your particular car. And when your key fob and your car are actually communicating with each other, they tell each other which code they're rolling to the next time, so that it will continue to be just your car, and you won't be walking about hitting somebody else's car.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that fascinating?
It's amazing what technology can do.
So if I have one of those, a key fob and a regular key, so that's all I have is one. Now, if I want to get a duplicate of both of those things, how much does that cost?
It just depends on which particular one you're using, because there's many different styles. Every car has a different style transponder that they use. Every car has a different style key fob. It just depends on your individual vehicle.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
So how big is the toolbox of a locksmith? You have a lot of tools?
It's a van.
It's a whole van full. That's a lot. That's a lot.
It's a van.
So it's not just a pair of tweezers and the needle nose pliers or whatever you call it, right?
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, we have anything from computers to basic screwdrivers. There are so many different machines, and with the way they're doing the new automotive keys and things, you have to have special machines just to cut one particular style key. So a lot of it is not universal as it used to be many years ago, where you could have one machine that does everything. Now you have to have a lot of specialized equipment to do each individual thing.
Are people very generous still these days in tipping? Because sometimes you've got to come out at all hours of the night to rescue a key or go to a home. Do people generally appreciate that and then also give the driver a tip?
Most of the older customers that we have are very appreciative.
Hope so.
A lot of the younger ones, they don't feel that they should tip.
Oh.
So, I mean, it just really depends on the person. I mean, a lot of the younger ones will. A lot of them won't.
Oh, really?
It just depends on the person and the current mood that they're in.
Yeah, because they're desperate. I mean, if I lock my keys in the car or something like that, I'd want somebody right away, and I would show my appreciation and give that little extra.
Right. But a lot of times we'll actually show up, and people will be upset with us because it takes us so long to get there.
Oh.
Well, I mean, I live close to the villages, and if you call me on the north side of Ocala, of course, if you call me at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm at home in the bed. It's going to take me a few minutes to get up, get dressed, and drive all the way up.
That person better have a tip.
Right.
There better be a tip for that guy.
It's going to take me a little while to get there. So a lot of times people are upset because it takes us a little while. But I mean, we're just like everyone else. We have our families at home.
Right.
So I mean, drive time always takes up time, and that's what 90% of it is our drive time from one location to another.
Yeah, because you're not automatically just roving around the county waiting on a call.
Right.
All right, this is fun. David Beck is here. He is a locksmith with AA Lock, Dock, and Security. If you have a question for David during the course of this interview, you can call 622-WOCA. We'll take a break and be right back. You're listening to The Source, WOCA Ocala.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. It'll be partly sunny and increasingly windy today. There can be a shower along the coast, the high 80 to 84. Tonight, clear to partly cloudy. There can be a shower along the coast. The wind will diminish. Low 63 in a few inland spots, 72 on the coast. Tomorrow, partly sunny and breezy. There can be a passing shower, the high 81 to 85. Thursday, partly sunny, chance of a shower, high 82 to 86. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Hi, this is JP from Penn Flooring here in Ocala. I would like to invite you to come in and visit our spacious showroom where we have solutions for every style and budget. From wall-to-wall carpet to hardwood floors and tiles, we have an unsurpassed selection of flooring. At Penn Flooring, we've provided quality customer service with a family touch for over 25 years. Visit our website at pennflooring.com or come by our showroom, 1201 Southwest 17th Street, just over the bridge. Penn Flooring, quality customer service with a family touch.
If you're anything like I was, the thought of getting older was the last thing on your mind. But here we are. For me, it started slowly. The lack of energy, never being in the mood, and when I was, I could never perform at my best. I tried the pills and other treatments with minimal results, and all but given up on my sex life. Then, I found the doctors at New Male Medical Center. Wow, they made a new male out of me. Feel like I'm 25 again. I have renewed vigor, so much more energy, and no longer worry about my performance. New Male treated me like my situation was one of a kind, with a custom treatment plan that really works. I feel great. They can create one for you too. It does not matter if you suffer from low testosterone, erectile dysfunction, or just want to last longer. New Male will help you.
Call New Male Medical Center today at 352-404-4779. 352-404-4779. That's 352-404-4779. It will change your life. 352-404-4779.
Coming off their impressive 20-point victory over Louisville, the Florida State Seminoles travel this week up to Atlanta, Georgia to take on the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. This game is a 7 o'clock kickoff right here on WOCA, brought to you by Tri-Eagle Sales and Distribution, your Bud Light distributor in the Ocala area. Don't miss it. 7 p.m. kickoff right here on WOCA, The Source.
What are the most common questions those nearing retirement are asking? Will I outlive my money? Retirement questions like these and many more will be answered every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on Planning for a Better and Safer Retirement with host Francois and Julian will help you put your retirement puzzle together. Catch Planning for a Better and Safer Retirement Saturdays at 9 a.m. on Ocala's News Talk, The Source 96.3 FM and 1370 AM.
18 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. David Beck is in the studio from AA Lock, Dock, and Security. And if you have a question about your locks, whether it's for your car, your house, your outdoor shed, or something else, or about the technology that has changed in the years that have passed that apply to security, give us a call. The number is 622-9622. Don't ask Robin or I. We won't know, but David will know. David will know the answer to the questions. Do you know what always interested me is, and it kind of tells you something, if you're in a city you're not familiar. We went to Chattanooga a few weeks ago, and we were just driving around just to see. And when you're in a neighborhood where you see lots of bars on the windows,
yes,
you say, this is not a good neighborhood.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And it's always interesting to me because those security needs, and I always feel bad for those businesses because they really have to do everything they can to fortify their building.
Absolutely.
So do you do all of that too? I mean, do you fortify a building like that?
We don't really do a lot with the bars. We could if a customer needed it, as far as your window bars and things like that. A lot of the stuff we do is more electronic security, surveillance, things like that. But I mean, in the area that we work, we don't typically have the issues of having to install window bars and things like that. A lot of the places we do large access control systems to allow people to get into complexes, allow to get into secure buildings and things like that.
Oh, really?
So that kind of security we do.
So you might put a whole gate or whatever on, let's say, a top of the world type of a place.
We wouldn't install the gate itself. We would have a contractor that does just gates that come in, but we would control the security and who had access through that gate.
I see, okay.
We could actually do it, but we have a contractor that does gates for us. And we bring them in, they install the actual gate, and then we install the electronics and the security controls for that particular gate.
Oh, that makes sense.
Allows who can and cannot access it.
How would you do a storage facility? Because sometimes people will go to storage facilities just to store their boat and things like that, and and the boat doesn't go in one of those sheds. They're
Correct.
on the outside, but you'd think they'd want to have some way to lock it down and put a lock on that.
Well, there's actually several companies that make locks that lock trailers. You can either lock the wheels on the trailer itself so that they can't pull it. You can lock the connection on the tongue of the trailer where it hooks up to the truck. There's several different ways you can lock an actual trailer. As far as the storage facilities go, most of those require whoever's storing something there to lock their own belongings up.
Oh.
They just control the access through the gates. And then we would just do an access control system on the gate itself, and most security or storage facilities, they just have a keypad there, so every individual would have their own private code.
Oh,
and then
okay.
of course they would have like video surveillance and things like that just to see who's coming in and out.
And does that include the alarms?
We can do alarms, but that's not one of our main focuses. Honestly, it's a lot cheaper sometimes just to go with one of these large alarm companies. They come in and they install the actual alarm.
Oh, I see, right.
We don't have the monitoring capabilities because we're a small shop. We don't have the monitoring capabilities or the resources to sit there and monitor 100 different facilities 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So we do the security stuff as far as the access controls. We do the surveillance for the video cameras, the CCTV systems. We do all that for many different size properties of every sort that you can imagine, from student housing facilities to secure buildings to different things. So as far as that goes, this is your question with the storage. The people that lock their stuff up in the storage are responsible for doing that, but we can provide several solutions for actually locking them.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Talk a little bit about the cameras that you install. What's the typical customer? We have a camera outside the studio here. In fact, I think we have 4 cameras in the building, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think Seth put them in there. I'm pretty sure.
They probably did.
I'm not really sure. But I mean, is this something that a lot of people are doing for their homes, or is it mostly a business thing?
Mostly it's businesses, just because of the cost. For a home, you can go and get a real simple, cheap system that would work just fine. But for the needs of businesses, they need a better quality camera, they need a better quality system. So we're doing a lot of major businesses. We're working on a project right now in Orlando that's 957 cameras for a student housing facility.
Wow.
We've got a project going on in Gainesville, very similar to that. So I mean, there's a lot of different things we do. We do malls, we do any type of business that wants that level of security.
Now, sometimes people have those pet doors leading from their homes to their backyard. Do you have any kind of surveillance on that? Because that to me seems,
Just in case a raccoon comes in.
Yeah, if you got a large dog, it would seem that a human could kind of stroll its way in.
That's true. I do not recommend pet doors, simply because of that fact that a human can squeeze through them. But I mean, there's actually locks that you can put on them when you're not there that you can close, but it won't allow your dog to come in and out.
Right.
So you can actually close it up so nobody else can come in as well. But I mean, if someone wanted a camera on it, it would be no problem to put one on it. It's just a matter of where we install the camera.
Nice.
The phone number right now is 622-9622 if you want to call David Beck and ask a question about the security at your home, or perhaps at your business, or perhaps you're buying a new home or a new business and you're not so sure if other people have the keys. I always wondered about this when, for example, we used to broadcast from the Cascades.
Yes.
I think I still have the keys to the Cascades. Now that I have no reason to go in there anymore.
I doubt it'll work.
But you doubt that it'll work?
I doubt it'll work.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So they changed them that quickly? Or
usually when someone moves out, well, for homes, people don't do it as often unless, if I were buying a home, I would go in and change the locks immediately.
Yeah.
As far as businesses and stuff, as soon as one tenant moves out of a building, the locks are changed and another tenant moves in.
Do you know what I wanted to ask you? When when Robin first started, we didn't have a key for Robin. So I went down to the locksmith near the Cascades, and they would not make a lock because there was some kind of a code on the key. I mean, a key. They would not make a key because there was some kind of a code saying, unless you have authority, you're not allowed to make a copy of this key.
Yes.
I didn't know. And then I went back to the maintenance man and I told him the story. So he said, okay, I've got the authority. He went down.
Right.
which is a wonderful feature, because people can't copy your keys unless you're authorized to copy them.
Absolutely.
So is that old technology? Not the concept, but is it done differently now?
It's standard practice, but a lot of the reason why they did it like that a long time ago is because the key blanks were the same as what you would use in any number of locks.
Right.
Now they've started making what we call high security keys. Although there's no electronics or anything else, the keyway itself you cannot get unless you go to a locksmith. I mean, you can't go get it at Walmart.
Oh,
you can't
really?
go get it at Lowe's or anywhere
Well,
else.
that's good. That's good to know.
They're really high security, and they also require specialized machines to cut them because of the way they're actually cut. So that actually helps create the fact that people just can't randomly go copy it. But we still have the same practices in place. We have the do not duplicate keys, and you can't do it unless you're actually authorized to get it. And you have to prove that you're authorized to make a copy of it.
Are keypads being phased out on businesses? Do you think all of the employees now that need to have access to the business, they go to a thumbprint, and then that way when they leave, all you have to do is erase their thumbprint from the system?
Well, keypads are somewhat being phased out because, I mean, there is a chance that you could randomly push a number and open the lock. Not very likely, but you can. Now they're going more to a token-based access, whether it's a smart card or a little key fob or something like that. And even some of the more high-security places are even going to biometrics, or thumbprint, iris print, a full face scan, or a hand scan. A lot of the high-security places are going into things like that.
Wow. We have a phone call. David, take that call. Thank you for calling. You're on the air with David Beck.
Yeah. My college roommate, his father was a locksmith.
Yes, sir.
And he had these high security keys, and he would demand to see authorization before he would dupe a no dupe key.
Yes, sir.
The tragedy in Colorado occurred because a locksmith duped a no dupe key that one of the teenagers gave him, and who clearly had no authority to have the key duplicated.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir. That gets into
breakdown in that situation.
Oh, man.
That gets into a legal matter, and it just depends on the situation. I'm not an attorney, so I'm not even going to attempt to comment on it.
Yeah, I guess that was probably a news story. Well, that was a good question, though. The number is 622-9622. Got about 2 minutes left. Before we leave, David, let's make sure we give out your phone number again and the website for AA Lock Security. Do you need help with that one?
Actually,
looks like I threw you a curve there.
All right.
There you go.
The phone number is 352-867-1965. And our website is www.aalockdoc.com, or you can stop by our shop at 219 Northwest 10th Street here in Ocala.
So can I put you on the spot just for a second?
Sure.
I'm just curious. Do you have any funny stories of all the years you've done this, or like you couldn't believe it kind of a story? Anybody throw you a real curve, like you had to go put a lock on an outhouse or something?
I've never had anything like that. I've had a bunch of crazy things happen, but I don't think they're very appropriate to talk over the air.
Oh no!
So,
those are the best kind. Those are the best kind. Oh no!
I can tell. Off air, I can tell you a lot of funny things, but I don't think it's very appropriate to discuss
wow!
here.
Really? I didn't expect that. Well, David, thank
Now
you.
we're all ears.
You've been a delight, and it's been fun. And how many guys work with you? How many guys over there?
We have 3 locksmiths on duty currently, and we've got a crew that is doing electrical and things like that on our CCTV jobs and things, different options like that. We also have another guy that does fiber networks that we're working with in Gainesville. So we've got a couple of different things. Full-time employees, we have 3 locksmiths, but we've got a bunch of other guys doing other projects as well.
And I'm guessing the call you get the most is the locked car?
Yes.
That's the one you get the most?
Yes.
Wow. Well, thank you.
I need another key.
Yeah, Robert
we'll make you one.
Robert needs another one. David Beck, thank you for coming in. Nice to get to know you. And AA Lock, Dock, and Security. The phone number, again, 867-1965. Call us if you need that. Share this video with those on friends on Facebook, because this will be on Facebook at 2, as on YouTube. It'll be at 2 also. Thank you, David.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Fox News Radio. I'm Lillian Wu. The field of Democratic presidential hopefuls narrows.
Fresh off a not-so-memorable performance in the first